This is Joy News Prime.
From Osu to Boku and Nima to Afram Plains, all our viewers, including those across the globe, are welcome to another edition of Joy News Prime, Ghana's most comprehensive 2 hours of television news. My name is Israelite. Coming up, Communications Minister reacts for the first time to Independence Day brochure gaffe in a Facebook post as pressure group Occupy Ghana drops hint it may be taking on government in the court. That reaction has elicited other reactions which I'll be sharing with you. Also in the bulletin, minority in parliament describes Ghana's future as bleak under the current NDC administration, having showed gross incompetence in management. The majority, however, sees things rather differently. We'll bring you both perspectives. Deputy Health Minister refutes claim by flag bearer of the opposition New Patriotic Party that the cost of the Ridge Hospital project has been inflated by $142 million.
And coming up in business, banks restrict loan advances for prospective seekers for fear of defaulting repayment as bad economic times hit their profit levels. And the barber who was acknowledged by President Mahama has been speaking of how his fortunes have improved since that presidential mention. Also in this news package, available across Europe on ABN television on the Sky platform, is entertainment, sports and Joy News Interactive. Stay tuned. Right now, very first story, the Communications Minister, Dr. Edward Omane Boamah, has for the very first time reacted to the Independence Day brochure gaffe, which has engaged the public for several days or since the Independence Day. In a Facebook post, which I'll be going to like now, Dr. Edward Omane Boamah goes, "Good morning, friends. Wish you a productive Friday and a safe weekend. I have listened. Several people have made very cogent points born out of their genuine desires to develop our nation. This epitomizes nation building, a nation on the move in the right direction. Thanks for your contributions." It's a pretty terse statement, but it's gotten quite a number of people reacting and a lot of people talking. One of the people who has been speaking or reacting to it is communications expert Professor Kwame Kakari, who says the post by the Communications Minister, Dr. Edward Omane Boamah, is advising the President to clean up and restructure his communication team, which he says has blundered way too often.
Is not whether the minister praises Ghanaians for a healthy debate, but whether the various concerns will be put in practice. Namely, being the Minister for Communication, I am reading into what he is saying to hope that he is willing to straighten up the problems of the President's communication, which has really been very, very bad on so many occasions. This is not the first time this kind of problem is emerging. We hope also that the minister will ensure that those communicators who take upon themselves the right to go all the way out and bastardize genuine patriots who are correcting mistakes will not take to the air or wherever to insult people who are raising genuine concerns, as he himself says, about such grievous errors. I do hope one very major problem with the President's communication is that, the one professional we saw who came in and we hoped would do something, that is namely Malo, was sacked. We hope the President's communication office will be staffed by professionals who rise above pettiness, rise above, unnecessary acts of impudence and disrespect to the public. The minister should take all these concerns and do something drastic about improving government's communication, because the communication from the President's communication office has been quite embarrassing for far too long. We want the minister today to get back to the drawing board to put that department right. And I'm saying that the President's communication department should be cleaned up. When I say drastic, I don't mean just sacking people. You could sack 1 million people and nothing may happen. The important thing is to put proper structures in there and also employ professionals. This country has abundant professionals in communication, professionals who are not necessarily loyal to this or that party and who are going to respect the opinions and the concerns of citizens. We are not interested in hiring people whose sole communication is knowing how to insult.
The founder and leader of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Pavakwesi Indum, has expressed his disappointment at the handling of the Independence Day brochure by government. Speaking to Joy News earlier via Skype, the businessman and former presidential candidate says he's expecting more people in government to take responsibility for the embarrassment caused the country. He believes President John Mahama should have been the first to render an apology to the nation, as he is the head of this administration.
Well, if that is a sign of a nation building, then it's a sign of a nation building to go backwards. It is important that we make all the noise, that we say everything that we need to say, and we tell ourselves as a people, as a nation, all of us, that this is something unacceptable, this is something disgraceful, this is something that has reduced and diminished the good feelings and the good image that Ghana has been held by so many different people. You know, when there is an important event in a country, in an organization, in society, the head of that organization, the leader ought to be the very first one to come out and apologize to the rest for something that is just so bad and something that the whole world has come to know as something negative. And we haven't heard anything like that from the leader of the land, the President of the Republic, Mr. John Dramani Mahama. Number two, the people who he has appointed and put in place, the political appointees, okay, none of them has also come to say, I take responsibility and I am accountable for something like this, because definitely a planning committee was put in place. And now we have taken a low-level person in civil service and made that person a scapegoat. Now, when that happens, the organization, the nation, the executive does not learn any lessons, because what happened falls in the realm of those who are in the political administration. And as a people, we must look for competence. As a people, we must look for good results. This one is a very, very poor results that casts bad light on us as a people. And I personally, not just as a taxpayer, but as a citizen of the land, one who is running around the world trying to do business and put the country in good light, I see many negatives in this, and I don't like it.
Pressure Group Occupy Ghana has also served notice it will head to court in the coming days if government fails to provide it with names of companies that bid for the Independence Day brochure. The group is also demanding, among others, the public procurement procedure adopted in selecting the winning bid and whether or not the Ministry of Finance has been requested to release funds for payment to the company with the winning bid. Isankoma is a leading member of the group Occupy Ghana.
We just want information. That's all we seek. We want to know, looking at the quality of the documents we had with respect to content, who opened a bid for the printing, publication, or production of these brochures? How many companies bid? Which company won the bid? If we didn't go through open tendering, did we do what they now call sole source, but the law called single source procurement? If we did single source procurement, what reasons did we give for choosing one person? In fact, was the approval of the procurement authority sought and obtained at all? If they did, who signed the contract? What did the contract say? Who is responsible for the content? Was it the printer, publisher, or the person in charge of production? Because we were first told that the ISD had done a mea culpa. We are guilty. Then the ISD workers got up and said, our director is wrong. We have nothing to do with this. In fact, even the letterhead he used is not our letterhead. The director apologizes and is made to fall on his sword. He's dead. He's gone. But that's not the end of it. Who did this to Ghana? We want to find out. And so we are asking for all of this. Have we paid for these brochures? Which documents supported the payment? Can we see them? And so that for now, we are just asking for information. We want to find out who did this to Ghana.
And if indeed the information is provided and it suggests that there's been some wrongdoing, what would Occupy Ghana do next?
We will ask for a complete refund of every peso that is owed to Ghana from whoever did the wrong thing. If we find out that some people did this to this country, they would have to refund it. If we find out, well, so as they say, look, the sweetness of the pudding is in the eating of it. Let's get the pudding first. Then we'll see how we taste it.
And leading member of Occupy Ghana, Nkrumah, was speaking on Joy FM Super Morning Show. Now, the legal suit challenging the eligibility of Dr. Zanetta Rawlings as the NDC's parliamentary candidate for the Klote-Koli constituency is now down to only one plaintiff, the incumbent member of parliament for the area, Ni-Ama Ashite. This was after the other defeated aspirant in the party's November primaries, Ni Alphonse Coleman, dropped his interest in the case. The Electoral Commission, which was joined in the suit, has also been removed after it informed the court that Dr. Rawlings is not a registered voter. The Accra High Court, after Friday's proceedings, adjourned the case to next week. Joy News' Raymond Akwa was in court and filed this report.
Ni-Ama Ashite and another member of the governing National Democratic Congress, NDC, John Ni Alphonse Coleman, jointly brought the suit against Dr. Zanetta, who beat them to become candidate-elect last year. The losers contend Dr. Rawlings was not qualified to contest the election because she was not a registered voter, a prerequisite for all candidates vying to win the parliamentary slot. When the case was called today, to the surprise of Mr. Ashite and his lawyer, his partner in the case, John Coleman, declared his intention to discontinue with the case. Mr. Coleman filed an application through another lawyer to have the court strike out his name as party to the suit. Gary Numako, who was lawyer for the two, opposed the move, insisting it violated the court's rules because he was not informed by his client about the decision to withdraw from the case. But the court disagreed and struck out Mr. Coleman as an interested party in the case. It also struck out the Electoral Commission as a third defendant in the case following the release of a letter which indicates Dr. Zanetta is not a registered voter. The case has, however, been adjourned to March 18, 2016.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but we have more stories coming up. Don't go away. Now, exporters stand the risk of having their shipments being left behind at the ports in Ghana if they fail to include information on the weight of their containers in their shipping documents. This is according to the head of shipper services at the Ghana Shippers Authority, Na Dentwa Ayete. She was speaking to journalists at a forum in Bolgatanga to discuss the new International Maritime Organization requirement on verified gross mass of a packed container. Upper East correspondent Albert Soares report.
The International Maritime Organization, IMO, adopted amendments to the Safety of Life at Sea Convention, Chapter 6, Regulation 2. Effective 1st July 2016, all packed containers are required to have a verified gross weight declared by shippers. Head of Shipper Services at the Ghana Shippers Authority, Nadine Swaite, explains.
Now, when the documents have been received by the shipping line, it presupposes that when the ship calls at the port, it will pick your container. Now, if you do not add the weight of the container to your shipping documents, what it means is that when the ship calls at the port, your container will be left behind if it does not have a weight verified. Now, if you have your weight, your container weighed and verified, you are expected to sign the document that you have weighed the container and that weight has been verified. It is the accurate weight of the gross mass of that container. So like I said before, if your container, the standard weight for a container, a 20-footer container, is about 24,000 kg.
She said most marine accidents involving cargo ships were found to have occurred as a result of wrong declaration of container weights by shippers.
Shippers do not give accurate weight of their containers, and this brings about instability of the ship when the containers are packed into the ship or they are stored in
We do apologize for the breaks in the audio there. In other news, the Health Ministry will, from next week, begin a reactive vaccination program in the Upper West region as part of measures to contain the outbreak of the new strain of meningitis. The strain, Neisseria meningitis, though not new, has a potential of becoming an epidemic if not brought under control.
3 strains of meningitis claimed close to 80 lives in 9 regions of the country, with the pneumococcal strain alone infecting over 100 people. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Victor Asare Bampo, however, says the pneumococcal strain appears to be phasing out, with the Neisseria now emerging as the dominant strain.
In 3 districts in Upper West, Jirapa, Nadoli and Nandom, it was found out that they had a different strain of meningitis. It's not a new strain, it's the old strain that has always been in the 3 northern regions. So we applied for a vaccine through WHO to do a reactive vaccination in those 3 districts, and that will be carried out from the 14th to the 20th of March. What that will do is it will preemptively stop any big outbreak that may occur because of this strain, which is the Neisseria meningitis.
Dr. Bampo noted that some areas in the Brong-Ahafo are still recording the pneumococcal strain, except in lower numbers.
Brong-Ahafo is still the pneumococcal meningitis, which is predominant. German North, which was a big problem in weeks past, actually is out of outbreak now because there is nobody on admission in German North with pneumococcal meningitis. What we have is that we still have Tain district, Wenchi district and Nkuranza district with cases. So a team has actually left. They left yesterday. They are supporting the regional and district teams and the district assembly to continue to do what they've been doing, active case searching, providing information about how the meningitis manifests itself so that people will come early to hospital and can get themselves out of it quickly. It will be premature to actually say that it has been brought under control. It's a long fight, you know, but all the things that need to be done to make sure that it will be under control are being done.
Meanwhile, the Health Ministry with the Veterinary Service has begun investigations into what is suspected to be an outbreak of anthrax. 2 deaths have so far been recorded in Boko in the northern region. Matilda Pamaga for Joy News, Accra.
Kidney patients in the Volta region are now spared the long distances they have to travel to access treatment, as a regional hospital in Ho has now acquired its own dialysis unit. The unit would attend to all the kidney-related ailments which the patients had to travel to the 37 Military Hospital or Kolibu Teaching Hospital in Accra for, sometimes every week. The unit was acquired courtesy a collaborative effort between the Asogli Queen Mothers Association and DMED Healthcare Limited.
We commission this in the name of God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen.
DMED Healthcare Limited donated 4 NiPro 55 Plus machines worth 200,000 Ghana cedis, while Ghana Oil Company Limited procured a water treatment plant worth 28,000 Ghana cedis to run the machines. The dialysis machine is necessary to filter kidney failure patients' blood to remove excess water and waste products, The medical director of the Volta Regional Hospital, Dr. John Tampore, says the demand for the services of dialysis is high since the region has been recording some high figures of kidney ailments. He added the installation of the dialysis unit would help improve healthcare delivery in the region. He, however, expressed worry on the increasing trend of kidney stones cases in the region and advised for a healthy lifestyle.
Stone forming, or stone diseases is becoming common. It used to be believed that it's not very common in poor countries. It's not very common among the blacks, but statistics today is showing something different, that indeed, of course, the economy is improving, so the disease pattern will change. So stone disease is becoming an issue today, and so these are all factors which can lead to eventual problems with the kidneys.
Speaking at a short ceremony to commission the unit, the Volta Regional Director of Health, Dr. Joseph Tainwete, admonished health workers to work with compassion to complement the work of the dialysis machines.
Just yesterday, Ridge Hospital was in the news. I hope some of you heard it. Due to staff attitude towards patients. And I want to remind you that we have a duty to the people of this country. Mind you, nobody, and I want to emphasize and underline, nobody in Ghana pays tuition fees. That is borne by the government. And it is the taxes of the people that does that. And so we are trained by the taxes of the people. And so we need, ladies and gentlemen, to show some compassion and commitment to the people of this country. So that yes, we have the equipment, yes, we have the logistics to work with, but let us approach this thing with some compassion and take care of the people of Ghana. By doing that, they will continue to hold us in high esteem.
Queen Mother of Hodome, Mama Atrato, who coordinated a campaign to get equipment, was optimistic the dialysis center would serve its purpose and attract patients from the sub-region.
We hope this facility would help improve the healthcare delivery in the region and reposition the hospital as the best tertiary health facility in the country. We are hopeful it will attract clients from neighboring Togo, Benin, Nigeria, and beyond. I challenge management and staff of the hospital to restore the position of the hospital to attract people so that a lot of people will come here as tourists and to see what whole regional hospital can offer.
Fred Kwame Sari filed this report from the Volta region.
Deputy Health Minister Dr. Victor Bampo has refuted claims the ongoing Ridge Hospital project has been inflated by $142 million. According to him, Crown Agents Ghana Limited, the company contracted to conduct the value for money assessment on the project, rather made a recommendation that the total contract price for the project be reduced by $142 million. On a tour of the project site to assess work done so far, Dr. Bampo described as unfortunate the claim of a cost overrun made by the New Patriotic Party flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo late last month.
The Ridge Hospital project involves the construction of a 620-bed facility. Apart from provision of logistics and equipment, the staff will also be trained on how to handle the equipment that will be installed. The entire project is being financed in 2 phases, with 2 loans, with the first phase estimated at $250 million. The NPP flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo, in his true State of the Nation address, suggested that the cost has been inflated by $142 million. But this, the Deputy Minister says, is unfounded.
There's been some talk about the fund, the hospital being built at a cost overrun of, I think, $142 million. It's unfortunate because that's just talking about one aspect of this project. As you know, it went through cabinet, it went through parliament, and when it got back to the Ministry of Finance, a value for money audit had to be carried out, and that was done by Crown agents. And in their initial report, they had suggested that perhaps some savings could be made, but that's what happens. That's part of the process. The process is that the report comes out, the clients and the contractors are called, they have a frank discussion so that the contractors can explain why some of the funds are the way they are. If probably the project manager could have told you that this building is being built to a certain specification called the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, which means that it's at a much higher standard than other buildings. So at the end of the day, when the discussions were held, it was felt that that $142 million perceived savings could not be obtained. So there were back and forth negotiations, which led to some agreement that savings of $27 million could be made. And that has been plowed back into the project. So if you realize, the initial design had 42 housing units. There are going to be another 42, so there will be 84 in total. And you saw that.
Phase 1 of the Ridge project is 65% complete. When it is fully operational at the end of this year, it will have 420 beds, delivery suites, maternity wards, intensive care units and other modern facilities.
And our intention is to complete the works for August this year and to start the training on medical equipment in September for the staff of the Ridge Hospital.
Meanwhile, the University of Ghana Medical Center is 95% complete as far as the civil works are concerned for the first phase. Phase 1 has 650 beds, with Phase 2 expected to add another 350 beds to take the total number of beds to 1,000. The hospital is a super tertiary facility with ultra-modern service for service delivery, training and research.
We are hopeful that the contractor would hand over at the end of May 2016. But before then, we need to get critical staff in place to plan the hospital. As you can see, it's a complex place, and staff need to be given weeks and a few months of orientation and training so that the day we bring in the first patient, everybody will be in place to ensure that we operate smoothly.
The Greater Accra Regional Director of Health Service, Dr. Linda Van Otu, who also joined the Deputy Minister to inspect the facility, believes that both projects will go a long way to take the pressure off Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Matilda Pamagan for Joy News, Accra.
You're watching Joy News Prime. Still to come in the bulletin. Minority in Parliament describes Ghana's future as bleak under the current NDC administration, having showed gross incompetence in management. The majority, however, sees things rather differently. We'll bring you both perspectives. And then the barber who was acknowledged by President Mahama has been speaking of how his fortunes have improved since that presidential mention. You want to hear all that he has to say, so please stay tuned for that. But right up after the break, we have business news. For business, and Emmanuel has joined me. Good evening to you,
Good
Emmanuel.
evening, Easy.
All right, so apparently you're going to be talking about loans, people looking out for loans.
Exactly.
They should be listening to this part.
It's unfortunate. It may be unfortunate maybe for you and I if you need to go for loans at the banks because they are shying
away from, going in for loans because of the interest rate. And now there's another reason
exactly. Why. Default rates or default in payment, repayment is
possibly
high.
Because the interest rates are too high.
Well, and maybe businesses are also saying the energy crisis also put a high toll on their cost of operations,
well,
so they can't.
Anyway, but I'm sure you have all the details.
Yes, all right.
I'll let you share.
Okay, so time for business now. And if you should turn to a bank today for a loan, your request is likely to be turned down. This is because some of the banks fear that the current economic environment might make it difficult for the loan to be paid back on time. But is there a way out for prospective loan seekers? George Uafe has more.
A careful look at the financials of some banks and even figures from the Bank of Ghana indicates that a chunk of these loans granted over the past 2 years have not been paid. whilst most of the businesses are having difficulties in paying the interest on them every month. The development is putting the financial position of some of these banks under threat. For some analysts, most businesses have had challenges in paying back these loans on time because of the recent energy crisis, which affected the ability to turn around these funds quickly, make the necessary profits on them, and pay back the loans on time. And also the inability of government to pay these service providers that have rendered service to the state on time. For some banks like Standard Chartered, it might not be prudent to continue with this aggressive credit delivery looking at the current economic environment. Kweku Bedwado is chief executive of the bank.
If the market conditions become more benign, naturally you see a certain improvement gradually creeping in and repayment capacity becoming enhanced. On the normal growth side, it depends on the state of the economy. If the conditions are benign, the opportunities for growth will be there and we will look for them and participate in it.
So if you badly need a loan from a bank, then you should be able to demonstrate that it can be paid back on time or supported with the necessary collateral. Then you are likely to be granted that loan. Maybe could it be a good time to turn to family and friends, or if you are an existing business, could you explore financing?
But could there be a way out for loan seekers? Mike Kobler is an investment and financial consultant.
These banks close their doors because of MPL and all that. What that means is that there's going to be the credit squeeze within the economy. And the alternatives are in fact, if you turn to the equity market, that is going to take forever. I mean, and if you turn to the microfinance space, I mean, they have, based on their interest rates, those kind of financing will only work for businesses that are making maybe 100% profit or close to 100% profit. And for very short, if like an around period, maybe you have some goods at the port, once you clear it, somebody has already given you a contract to supply, so you supply, you get your money. So within 1 month, if you pay an interest rate of 5% or 7%, maybe you can live with it and your business can absorb it.
About, some might say, family and friends. What about that one? Can it work here?
Well, times are rough for everybody. When there's a liquidity squeeze, it does not affect everyone. Obviously, yes, if you have friends or family that have excess cash flows, they could come to the rescue. But believe you me, when there's a liquidity or a credit squeeze, it affects everybody, and everybody tries to hold on to the little money that they have. So even the family and friends, they may not be available if they want to help.
Now, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, is calling for a probe into the finances of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC. This follows the revelation of financial irregularities by the 2014 Auditor General's report against the National Oil Company. The report highlighted the indebtedness of the Ministry of Finance to GNPC to the tune of about $50 million, as well as GNPC's failure to audit its partners in oil operations as required by petroleum agreements signed with the partners. Speaking on the marketplace on Joy News today, the head of policy unit of ACEP, Dr. Ishmael Aka, said GNPC has stepped out of its mandate under the law by extending a credit facility and called for the listing of the company to ensure its financial activities are consistently published.
We're quite surprised when we were told the Auditor General's report indicated that GNPC gave loans to government, about $50 million. Some time ago, they gave about $41 million to VRA. Another time, they paid government loan of about $30 million of a loan contract from BNP Paribas. Now, if you do that, it becomes something like a splash fund, a fund where government is but just allocate money to you so that it will please all people. Then use the back door to come and take it. Because GNPC is not a financial institution. And if you don't check this, a time will come, like what is happening in Venezuela. GNPC will just be an entity through which you put money and use it to fund other activities, some of which may not even benefit the country. What we are proposing is that, one, there should be probe into GNPC's finances. We should know, even as at 2015 December, there was about 192 million cedis sitting in the account. I mean, if we can have that, why should government go around borrowing? So let us probe and see how much they really need. so that they don't get the excess to be funding so many other things, black stars, black queens, which are fine, very important, but outside their mandate. So their core mandate, what do they need, how much do they need to carry out? We should establish that too. Parliament should approve the budget and the expenditure of GNPC. I mean, Parliament should provide that strong oversight over GNPC so that they don't go beyond some of these things. Then the third one is that in the medium term, GNPC should be listed on Ghana Stock Exchange. At least.
Leading telecoms operator MTN Ghana says it is working to cede part of its stake to Ghanaians as soon as possible. The company, as part of conditions for its 4G licensing, is obliged to localize 35% of its investments before February 2017. Aside the $67.5 million MTN paid for the 4G license, it has also set aside some $18 million to fully deploy the service by the middle of the year. At an editors' forum yesterday, the Chief Executive Ebenezer Asante told Emmanuel J that MTN is committed to meeting the licensing obligation, but ruled out listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange as a first and immediate option.
They gave us 13 months from the award of the license to be able to achieve that objective, and we are committed to that. Exactly what form and shape it will take, that one, the consultants are working on it, and as soon as they are ready, we will invite you to share the details on the localization.
Many appear to be waiting with bated breath to see when MTN would list. Definitely it should be one of the options. I mean, list on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Let me manage expectations by saying that listing on the stock exchange can be the ultimate long-term goal, but the first step may not necessarily be going the stock market route. Remember the period that we have, and remember the fact that this is the first time we are localizing. So there may be a long-term broad objective to attain, but for the short-term one, I'm not too sure the stock market option will be the immediate option for us to venture into, to be able to meet the license requirement within the period that we've been given.
Manufacturers of Power Malt, Vitamalt and Fax Beer, Royal Unibrew, says it has advanced plans to establish a factory here in Ghana. The company has also partnered Otis McAllister Africa to reposition and expand its operations to more parts of the country. The country manager, Olubunmi Yolade, spoke to Joy Business at the relaunch of its products.
Partner now, we are going to see the brand across the region. You're going to all over Koforidua, Cape Coast, Tekrade, Kumasi, Accra, Tamale, everywhere. You're going to see it. I won't be able to give you detail, but there is a plan, to set up a company, to set up a brewery to produce power malt, the malt basically, not the beer for now. In the next 3 years, 4 years, we're planning to set up a plan to produce the malts, the power malt and the Vitamalt locally in Ghana. And not only for Ghanaian market, we want to set up the factory here to cover West Africa region, to go to Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Benin, and Togo.
And that does it for business for tonight. Thank you very much for your company, and do join me again for more business next Monday. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Before then, keep watching the news.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana says it cannot be blamed for the situation at Mafi, Badjikopa in the Volta region, where 5 years after government extended electricity to the area, residents continue to live in darkness. The company says a self-help electrification project under which electricity was extended to the community is a power ministry initiative, and that the ministry should supply the meters to them. Though the residents made the commitment fee payments to ECG for the meters in 2010, they are yet to be installed. They complain the situation is hampering the provision of quality education and security in the community. Volta Regional PRO of ECG, Fred Bambil Johnson, tells Joy News the company will engage the community to pay new fees for ECG meters to be supplied to them.
Was under the self-help electrification project. Now, this is a project that's implemented by the ministry. Then it was the Ministry of Energy, but now the Ministry of Power. and it's a project that seeks to extend electricity access to very poor communities. Now, what's the role of ECG within this project is more of a facilitation role. We do a list, or we put together a list. What happens is after the list is ready, we send it to the ministry. Then the ministry has an appointed contractor who does the stringing of the lines, and then based on the list sent to the ministry, the meters are released through us to the contractor to fix in these communities. So we are not the ones who provide the meters, in these what you call SHEP projects. What happened here is that I don't specifically know why the meters were not released, but it got to our attention in 2013 when the communities complained that they hadn't received their meters. So what we did was to send reminders to the ministry. We've actually sent about 2 or 3 reminders since 2013 and haven't gotten a response. However, because of we realized the problem that this situation is causing on the potential customers, management has taken a decision on what to do. So there are 2 ways here. Either we create a leeway so we can have them get onto our system to enjoy electricity in their homes, or we would have to still wait for when the ministry can provide the meters. So we are scheduling a meeting with the community to explain to them what the situation is, and then to make our proposals to them such that if they could pay the 50 Ghana cedis that facility that we are making available to them, then we could supply the meters to the individual facility.
The Ghana Bar Association says the Postal Packets and Telecommunications Messages Bill in its current form is unacceptable. The bill, also referred to as a spy bill, when passed into law, will allow the country's security agencies to listen in on private conversations of citizens. In a statement signed by the GBA's national president, Benson Nuchukwi, the association noted that although the bill is needed, portions of it must be reviewed so that it does not trample on citizens' rights. The association, among others, wants the framers of the law to harmonize the legislation with about 30 other existing legislations. We therefore suggest that all the current statutes on lawful interception are specifically harmonized within the context of the current bill and the relevant repeals and revocations done to avoid legislative confusion and disharmony. It also called for the code withdrawal of provisions of Clause 4, Subsection 3 and 4 of the bill, which allows the National Security Coordinator to orally authorize interceptions for 48 hours without any court order or warrant. The minority in Parliament says the country's future is bleak under the NDC government and says only a change can resuscitate the economy and restore hope in the economy. Osei Asare tells the House government has demonstrated total incompetence in the handling of the country, or the management of the country, and warns dire consequences if the trend continues.
Contributing to the debate on the State of the Nation address delivered by President Mahama last month, Mr. Mensah says all economic indicators and fundamentals are on a nosedive. He is particularly not happy with few months to the general elections. The Electoral Commission has yet to address concerns with the process.
The President stated that he would ensure a free and fair election. We have less than 8 months before the conduct of the election. And as I just alluded to, the central issue of a credible voters register has been rejected by the EC. The EC's own solution of exhibition of the register has also been rejected by his own committee of experts as not valid. The panel recommended biometric validation of all registered persons. The EC has not made any commitment to this process either. We need a firm commitment from the EC about some of these matters. The nation must not be sent on another perilous journey as happened in 2012. The process of electioneering must be transparent and predictable in pursuance of good democratic governance. It must not be contrived to satisfy a particular political party. Ghanaians will not be defined by propaganda. The real state of our nation is measured in collapsing businesses and rising cost of living.
Majority Leader Alban Gbabin, in winding up the debate, said the Mahama-led administration is committed to its changing lives. Leader Alban Gbabin, in winding up the debate, said the Mahama-led administration is committed to its changing lives transformation agenda. According to him, government has achieved successes in many aspects of the economy. Citing Parliament as an example, the majority leader said provision of offices for MPs demonstrates government's commitment to deepening democracy.
Who can honestly say that life in this chamber has not changed for the better? Mr. Speaker, who can honestly say that looking outside the chamber block and seeing job 600, who can honestly say that life has not changed for the better? Mr. Speaker, if people can move from using their car boots as offices to using well air-conditioned, state-of-the-art offices, and they see this as no movement forward, no change, then I don't know what change means.
Parliament is meanwhile expected to rise next week. Ahead of it, the House is expected to pass the election regulations captured in the Constitutional Instrument 91, which will give the Electoral Commission the legal mandate to hold the limited registration exercise in April. The EC chairperson, Charlotte Osei, is also expected to brief the committee on the whole steps taken by her outfit to ensure a credible electioneering process ahead of the November polls.
Up next, we bring you international news. All right, good evening. Efwa is here, which tells you that she's coming to tell us all about JNI.
Yes, all about JNI. You know, and it wouldn't be the week it has been if we don't add, you know, what people are saying about the Independence Day brochure. Okay, people are still talking about it. Yeah. Occupy Ghana has added its voice, actually, and calling for more investigation into the botched Independence Day brochures. Sickle cell disease is on the rise, and the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital records 6,000 babies born with the disease. But is this news making the public more wary about who they date or marry?
I know it's a weakness in the blood group. Some blood groups are stronger, others are weaker. See, science, so far, science has been said to be true in every sense. So for me, I will not risk. Because some say in the name of Jesus, Jesus will do, it's a lie. Because he created you, he created me, he gave us different blood groups. This one will not work with that one. Why should I risk, my dear?
And Frank in Boku sends us a viewer report about the dilapidated nature of the Bolga-Boku road over there. So Israel is going to be a pretty interesting.
Yeah. But the issue about the sickle cell, it's quite.
You have to stay tuned for that. We asked people what they know about the disease, and the definitions were pretty interesting as well. So stay tuned for what people know about the disease. It just goes to show that I think more awareness needs to be done. Yeah.
All right, certainly. Thank you very much, Efwa. So Efwa will be here in the next hour with JNI, but also we have entertainment, and then we have sports all coming up in the second hour of the bulletin, plus that story about the barber who got the presidential acknowledgement. You have to stay tuned. We'll be back in a bit. Time now to recap our top stories, and the Communications Minister has reacted for the first time to the Independence Day brochure gaffe in a Facebook post as pressure group Occupy Ghana drops hint it may be taking on government in the courts. The minority in Parliament has described Ghana's future as bleak under the current NDC administration, having showed gross incompetence in management. The majority, however, sees things rather differently. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Victor Mampo has refuted claims by the flag bearer of the opposition New Patriotic Party that the cost of the Rich Hospital project has been inflated by $142 million. In business, banks are restricting loan advances for prospective seekers out of fear of defaults in repayment as bad economic times hit their profit levels. Right, so that story about the Baba will be coming up pretty shortly. But it's been two fires in two different parts of the country, destroying properties and causing heartaches to owners of affected structures. Last night, a stretch on the Spintex Road was ravaged by fire, which is said to have first razed down a warehouse of Kingdom furniture before spreading to other buildings. The Ghana Fire Service says it has begun investigations into circumstances leading to the outbreak, and my colleague Beatrice Edu has been there and has more now.
This is the factory, or people would say workshop, of Kingdom Furniture. And indeed, you can see very extensive damage caused by the fire. A lot of their finished products that they were just about to take to their showrooms have been destroyed in this fire. I'm told that there were a lot of beds, orthopedic beds, on the right side of the workshop that have been completely rendered into ash. When you check the right side of this particular workshop, you can see that there were a lot of wooden works being done here. You can see plywood, you can see locks here that have also been completely bent into charcoal and ashes. So the damage here is quite extensive. On the extreme side, on the left side, where they were storing materials for orthopedic beds and some other wooden structures, you can see that there's a story building here which has been partially affected. It was partially burnt, and according to the fire service, if they had not gotten in earlier, the whole place would have been an eyesore. So this story building has been affected. There's another story building here, also on the extreme left of this workshop, that has also been partially affected by this fire. And of course, there's still smoke in here. I can smell the smoke. There's still some pockets of fire in different portions of this particular workshop.
Now, the Baba, who was acknowledged by President Mahama during his State of the Nation address last month, has seen a phenomenal boost in his business. Baba Dora's shop was mentioned as an example of the difference the solar panel initiative is making when it comes to small businesses. Joy News' Latif Idris found out the presidential mention has almost doubled the number of people who go to Young Dollar for a shave. That wasn't all. Atif also found out Young Dollar is actually an adulteration of the owner's last name, Dora.
When President Mahama delivered the State of the Nation address last month, he laid bare the achievement his administration has chalked and the plans he has for this beautiful country, even as he inches closer to the finish line of his first term as president. But that wasn't all, because President Mahama also said this.
Already several small and medium enterprises have been provided with rooftop solar plants, following my announcement of a target of 200,000 rooftop solar projects for small businesses and residential users. Mr. Speaker, some of the small and medium enterprises that have been connected with solar include Young Dollar Barbering Shop. It's in Mamobi, so for those of you who want a haircut, you can look at them.
Yes. So that was President Mahama giving shout-outs to Young Dollar Barbering Shop. So out of curiosity, I set out and I've located the Young Dollar Barbering Shop here at Nima. I'm going to have my own tweets in there and then find out from the Dollar Man how the president's shout-out has impacted his enterprise. So come with me, let's have this engagement with the Dollar Man. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Okay, I'm Latif from Joy News. I hope you are the Dollar Man.
I'm the Dollar, aka Young Dollar.
All right, so we are here to have an engagement with you. You remember the president mentioned you in the State of the Nation address.
Yeah.
How has that changed the face of your business?
Very far away.
All right, so that's the conversation we want to have with you.
So you're welcome.
Thank you. So, Young Dollar, you tell us, I mean, when you started this whole business?
I started my business about 20 years ago.
Wow, that's a long time ago. So, growing up, did you, I mean, have the ambition that what I want to do in life is to be a barber?
Yeah.
Was that the childhood ambition you had?
My dream is football.
Oh, okay.
But whilst we are playing at Coast, at Munchindi, even in our clubhouses, I used to barber people. So after I had a knee problem, that is where I make serious on my barber.
Oh, okay. So the injury you had changed your destiny, if you like.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you set up this business, what was the target you had? I mean, category of people did you have as your target that you wanted them to visit your shop?
My target is, my dream is president.
Wow.
Or chief imam. That is my last target because of, I thank God, one of the ministers or a lot of the ministers I barber them. So my next target is maybe either chief imam or the president.
Wow. So that was your target.
Yeah.
You already have the president mention you in the State of the Nation address. What has the shout out done for you?
Has done a lot. Has done a lot. Why? Because now I can see many people visiting me once I don't know them. You see?
Yeah.
So the president has really campaigned me very hard.
That is on a very huge platform. We're done?
Yeah. I'm done.
We're done. All right.
Because of your back, I'm not going to use the blade.
So I don't know how I look. That is for you out there to judge. But Young Dollar said he has two people on his list. That is the Chief Imam of the Republic, Sheikh Osman Nuhu Sharubutu, and then the First Gentleman of the land, President John Dramani Mahama. I know both of them are watching. So, Mr. President, you gave him a shout out on the floor of Parliament when you delivered the State of the Nation address. He's looking forward to host you here in this seat and give you a nice haircut as he has given me now. From Young Dollar Barbering Shop here at Nima, this is Latif Idris reporting for Joy News.
Right, so Latif has actually joined me in the studio with this brand new haircut from Young Dollar. But you found out that apparently it's the name Dollar that he's acquired was actually adulteration.
Exactly.
So,
the real name is Barbadora.
Barbadora.
Yeah.
And then what? How come?
His friends were unable to pronounce the Dora, so they said it is not Dora, it is Dollar. So it's like
his friends couldn't pronounce the Dora.
So they changed it to Dollar.
What is the difficulty in pronouncing Dora?
Oh, you know, we have people who have problems with their R's and their L's. Yeah. So it could be one of them, and then he
just called them
Dollar, and then the Dollar stuck with him. And he's cool with that. He thinks the Dollar is even selling him the more.
Did you get to see the solar panels?
Yeah, we had the solar panel. And apparently he's still using the solar panel.
He does?
He uses it from morning till, say, 11 in the afternoon. Then he switched to ECG because he has air conditioning there.
Yeah.
And
so it means for the morning, he's not offering air conditioning to anybody once he's on the solar?
Yeah, so he depends on the ECG from 12 midday. So say in the evening.
You were also telling me about one interesting incident that happened that, you know, when you got there was an MP, about his clients.
Exactly. That was yesterday. You know, we went there for our recce, we went to survey the area. I got there, we entered, he was seated there. I didn't even know him. He was seated there with a man. So I introduced myself, this is Latif from Joy News. And then this member of parliament had Joy News. He said, Joy? No, I don't have any business with Joy. He just stood out.
Yeah, he said it in Hausa. Like
in Hausa, yeah. He said, Joy, you want the harka Joy? Like, I don't have any business with Joy. So he just left. I was shocked.
I wonder why, because we're very friendly.
Exactly.
And you know,
I've been trying to find out exactly what we did or we've done to.
You need to get in touch with him.
And I've told Young Dollar to arrange this member of parliament for us to find out.
Did you pay for your haircut?
It was offered free service.
You know what that means, right?
Yeah.
Solly?
No.
Right,
He's just a brother.
Thank you very much, Latif. That's it. Next up, we'll bring you entertainment. Time now for entertainment, and Miss G has joined me. Good evening to you, Miss G.
Good evening, Israel. How are you doing?
I'm good. You've done something to your hair again.
Yes.
You're trying to look less scarier. Is that the plan?
No.
Yeah, but this one doesn't scare me, actually.
Okay, the other one did.
Yeah.
So I might as well stay like that. You know, I prefer to look scary.
Right.
Super scary.
What's coming up?
Okay, so a lot coming up in entertainment. You know, over the week, we have been talking about the fact that we have a new member of Praia, and the new member is our own Andy Dusty.
Oh, seriously?
You didn't know?
I didn't know that.
Where have you been?
Oh.
Okay, so in Kumasi at the Freedom Concert, Praia made up of Praia Tietia and Praia Honey Hall, Praia Tietia and Praia Tinti, decided to tell all of us that there's a new member. And then the new member happens to be Andy Dusty. And
okay, so Andy Dusty can't be Honey Hall. Essentially, they have another Praia Tietia.
Yeah.
So they have two Praia Tietias.
No, we have Praia Dusty. That's who we have.
That's what we have?
But are you a member of the Praia group now, Andy Dusty?
For now, not an official member. It is not confirmed yet. Reasons are, one, I need to record with them a properly produced studio recording, before I can get on stage with them to perform. I cannot sing like Eugene. I cannot sing his part, which I'm not ready to sing his part, even if they ask me to, because I am not ready for any copyright laws. I'm not ready to face the courts. I want to be original. I want to sing like Andy Dusty. I want to be me. These are some of the reasons. Again, I'm considering my brand. I'm a suit man. I'm always wearing suits, if not for the fact that we are celebrating the month of March, as in the Ghana month, where you find me wearing African attires to the office. It's very, very rare, very, very hard to find me in these kind of clothes. I love them anyway, but we all have our brands. Are they ready to cut their dreadlocks to fit mine? Am I going to grow the locks so I can fit in there? Are they ready to take off their t-shirts to start wearing suits? Am I going to wear t-shirts? I mean, there are so many things going on in my mind.
Is it a group you would want to be a member of?
Yes.
Once you agree to be a member of Praia, then you've got to be some kind of one Praia.
Well, Reggie Rockstone came in to join VIP. He became VVIP. Who brought the idea? So I'm not there to mention or dictate for anyone, but suggest. Just come up with ideas. I mean, we all have opinions, right? Probably the excitement that I'm joining the group may trigger something else. Why don't we start being like you? I think that the announcement to join them came quickly. The member that made the announcement was too quick. I don't know whether he was too excited. He got carried away because that wasn't the plan. The plan was that I would join them on stage. I learned some few moves. Old man. And then some few talks, and that's it. We're done.
All right, so it sounds like this, you know, prospective member of Praia is actually setting out conditions and saying that what
he's a suit man.
He's a suit man. He doesn't want to wear a suit and
and he hasn't wear t-shirts, and he doesn't know whether he has to grow locks or whether he has to cut their locks.
But anyway, it's interesting. And Dusty himself is an artist already.
Yeah,
so we know
is.
him. He has a number of tracks already out there.
He
so
does.
first it was Reggie Rockstone who joined the VIP to become VVIP. Now Andy Dusty will probably end up, joining Praia as another Praia Theatre or just Praia Dusty. Who knows?
Maybe you decide.
Miss G, maybe next joining Spice Girls.
I see. Well, okay, so let's talk about Kwakese. And Kwakese has a new album. It's titled Forever. He says the album is in memory of his late manager, Fennec Oshie.
Yeah, Fennec.
But on that album, we have a song that says, Let Them Say, or We Know They Hear. I think that's the title of the, We Know They Hear. And that song seems to be like a political song,
Oh, yeah?
Yes, but he says, no, it's not a political song, but he has a political ambition.
I don't do politics, so I don't know what you were talking about. What I know is it's a good song that I recorded. I talked about the show that I killed in the US, the Apollo show. And I talk about myself, how I'm still faring in the game and doing greater things. That's what I think about when I say man of the year. Ain't anything political in my songs on the album.
Your colleagues are endorsing presidential candidates. Who are you going to endorse?
I will endorse myself. Kwakese for President 2032.
Charlie man of the year. Charlie man of the year. Me a man of the year.
Okay, so Kwakese for President 2032. Can you imagine what life will be like under him?
He's an Abodam president, you know. We all have to start walking like this.
Yeah, Abodam.
I can't imagine.
And probably he's going to legalize weed.
I didn't hear you.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's always talking
Massa,
about
I
that.
beg. he had to do that song, after the incident in Kumasi. He said, Massa, I beg. So we all say, Massa, I beg to him. But you remember the man, Bob Smith Jr.? Diabolo.
Yeah.
We've been hanging out with him, and guess what? He's been talking about, movie back in his time.
Hold on. You've been hanging out with a Diabolo?
Okay. So
in the era of pastors becoming snakes?
Oh, well, he says he's handed over to Obinim. No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. But he talked about movies back in his day, and of course, the fact that he and his team made a lot of impact. And then, that role he played in that movie, Diabolo, he says that people had to run away when they see him at party. He had to stop going for functions and all that. And
indeed, I had that feeling too. I mean, each time he came around, I had that feeling. I met him a number of times.
I thought he was going to turn into a snake.
I had that feeling about him, actually.
Well, he talks some more about his career.
We started it and we did very well, and so a lot of people came into the scene. So it means that we did our best at that time. We are still doing our best because we haven't stopped making movies. What we have done is that if I am putting money into filmmaking today, it has to be big money. And it has to be a production that I can recoup my costs. Some of them are making movies because they just want to make movies without thinking of recouping costs. So I think that we will need to make those movies to create employment for a lot of people, which we did. They have also come in because it was, a job well done that also made them want to be part. Our time, we did our best. And our best was very good enough for Ghana to earn a lot of money and create a lot of employment for most Ghanaians who didn't have jobs at that time.
Did you ever go through this experience where people see you and they think you're going to turn into a snake, so they begin to get scared?
More than 150,000 times. But I told myself it is a job well done. People called me Ghana Christopher Lee. Like Christopher Lee, people wouldn't want to stay under the same roof with Christopher Lee because they couldn't tell how safe they were. At some points, I don't go to parties without creating big problems. I go to parties and then people run, people get hurt. Why? Because they thought I would still change into a snake wherever I go. But for me, if you were educating people and the impact was so great, it was a job well done.
What was the biggest dream you ever had for your movie career, and did you attain that dream?
Yes, some time ago, somewhere in 1993, I told myself I would be the first person to make a movie from outside Ghana. And then I started. It was not too easy. I would say it was easy because that is how God put it. And I was lucky I was able to make Mamma Mia and followed it up with about 7 or 8 more movies made in Ghana, in Germany, Ghana, Italy, Ghana, USA, Ghana, UK. I was able to, and I say this in the glory of the Lord, that I was the first in our sub-region to make a video, Ghana, a feature a video film, Ghana, and then outside Ghana. For me, that was a dream come true.
No, seriously, we must give some, credit to him, because during his time, he actually reigned.
Yeah,
even though, I mean, if you look at the movie now, you would wonder, I mean, how could a movie like this have passed? Because we have advanced so much more since then, that the kind of effects we do in our movies, or you see in our movies, are a whole lot different and a whole lot advanced. But well, yeah, he did it and he pulled it off, and he had quite a following actually, and as he said, he made quite an impact. So no doubt about that.
Yes, I remember Mamma Mia very, very well. I remember this phrase, "Enemekunipa, Mamma Mia, enemekunipa." Back then I was that young. Okay, so whilst Kawakasi says he has a political ambition, people out there in America, celebrities, are throwing their weight behind Hillary Clinton. Talk about Kerry Washington, Viola Davis, they're pledging,
Yeah. But it's not only Hillary Clinton, by the way, because Bernie Sanders is also getting quite
Donald Trump.
He's getting people also endorsing him. So yes, some will endorse Hillary Clinton, some will endorse Bernie Sanders, and Donald Trump is going to get his own share.
Yeah. So let's hear the lady speak for Hillary.
Good for her.
What were you expecting that she say, "I'm Hillary Clinton and I disapprove this message"? No. Never.
Certainly. I mean, so he got it. There's one other guy who plays in Suits. He's a character in Suits. No, not Suits, rather House of Cards, a political drama, and he also endorsed Hillary Clinton.
Okay, good for her.
He's one of my favorite characters, so I'm happy for
her. And you remember that Freeman as well, Morgan Freeman also endorsed her. So she's getting a lot of celebs endorsing her. But I have a surprise for you.
She's waiting for you to endorse her too.
It doesn't make any difference if I do or I don't. I don't have a vote, so just endorsing her won't do anything. Anyway, I have a surprise for you. And so it's time for us to boogie down. It's Friday. So you don't have hair. Like I would say, let your hair down.
Yeah.
So let's go. It's Boogie Down Friday.
So everybody who's been bugging me, including Miss G, about dancing, can you do that?
I can do it. I was telling you, get up and let's do it. It takes two. She didn't do it alone.
You can't do it.
I can.
You can't do that.
Okay, let's go.
No,
get up.
You can't do
Say,
that.
I can't do it, and I'll be okay.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's it for entertainment.
Now he sacks me.
We have sports up next. It's time for sports, and Gary Smith is here on set with a rather lovely looking outfit, I must say. It's good. It looks really good on you, Gary. Who made this one?
Oh.
I mean, I'm asking you, so if you mention the name, nobody's going to sanction you.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's ISD Fashions.
ISD Fashions. Okay, some endorsement for ISD Fashions.
Do you know who ISD is?
No.
Information Services Department.
I didn't know that they had a fashion outfit.
Have you forgotten? They said they don't have any jobs to do because they've taken their jobs.
So they're making clothes.
So if you enter, you know where their place is, the ISD, the headquarters, is opposite to the Flagstaff House. So if you enter there, you see a fitting shop. The staff, some of them do fitting over there.
Is that where you got this one?
Some of them, they do catering over there. Charlie.
Anyway, what's coming up in sports?
Well, John Barnes is in town.
Oh, yeah, I heard him on the Super Morning Show.
Yes, so he's in town and he's been speaking about the way African teams seem not to be able to do well at the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then we have some previews of the Barclays Premier League this weekend. You know, Newcastle United have a new coach in Rafa Benitez. And a bit of this and that, La Liga fixtures and this and that.
All right, you take it away, Gary.
Okay, thank you for joining us on the spot on Prime. Hello, I'm Gary Al Smith. And John Barnes, the ex-Liverpool legend, is in Ghana. He's in Ghana to take part in an event that has been organized by Standard Chartered Bank and also powered in part by the Joy Sports team. Now, he was asked on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM this morning about his thoughts on African teams and why they seem not to be able to do well at the World Cup. Don't forget that Africa made the first appearance at the World Cup in 1934 when Egypt went there. In 1982, for the first time, there were 2 African teams. And then in 2006, for the first time, there were 4 African teams at the World Cup. But he says that we lack the mental strength to win.
Team in the World Cup, and Ghana, I think, played very well in 2010. They showed the right spirit and determination and desire and togetherness, showing that they didn't necessarily have the best individual players, because Ivory Coast had better players, but Ghana did better because of that spirit. When Pele said that he could see an African team winning the World Cup in the next 20 years, he said that probably 20 years ago. It was because he saw somebody like him, who's the greatest player in the world ever, with what he has physically. And now, if you look at the African teams physically, tactically, and technically, they are equal to any team in the world. What he didn't take into consideration is the mentality necessary. They never said the high attitude, it's togetherness, which is where the African teams, and I've coaching Jamaica, is exactly the same thing. That's where we need to improve. And what I always say is that if you all remember when Liverpool came back in 2005 against AC Milan, we were 3-0 down against a better team with better players. How could we do that? Not because we're better, but because we had that togetherness, that belief, that harmony. And I always said, could we see an African team being 3-0 down against superior opposition and coming back? Now that is the mentality necessary that the African teams need, because physically, technically, and tactically, they are equal to any team in the world. And that's what we have to concentrate on.
You can get that full report on myjoyonline.com. Also, don't forget that tomorrow is when the Joy Sports team is bringing you an exclusive interview with John Barnes. It's Joy Sports at home, and that interview will be after the midday news. So at 12:10, Nathaniel Atto will be exclusively with him for that interview. Don't miss it on Joy 99.7 FM. In Ghana, though, the action continues in the Ghana Premier League, and it's week 4. Hearts of Oak doing well, while All Stars on top of the league. Aduana Stars are below. Kotoko somewhere in between. Ash Gold reigning champions also in between. We'll take you through the fixtures right now. This is the way it looks. New Dubiasi will be at home against Inter Allies. Inter Allies have been inconsistent so far in the Star. Hearts of Oak are 3rd in the league. They've played 2. They've played 3, won 2, drawn 1. They'll be against Bichem United, who also won their last game. Chelsea, who are not doing badly, played against Ash Gold 2 games ago. Will be playing against Kotoko, who badly need a win. And there's so much pressure on David Duncan. Hazakers, who were beaten 5-0 in the last game, are playing against Ash Gold, who drew 0-0 with Kotoko and have been bundled out of Africa as well. Aduana Stars, who are bottom of the league and have so much going on. We understand that Aristika Chuaba, the man from Europe, will take over the management of the team in the technical capacity. Also, Godfred Saka has been reinstated as the captain 3 games after it was taken from him. They'll be playing against Wafa, who are on a high and are the top scoring team in the league. Dreams FC will be at Dewu, where they play against the team that are on top of the league, Wow Stars, while Liberty will be at Dansomad against the tough-talking Techiman City. Mediama will be in Takwa, and they'll be playing Dwarfs. This will be a very interesting game because transport-wise, a lot of people can travel from Cape Coast to Takwa to watch the game. Also, don't forget that Mediama say they have sorted all their issues. But this Mediama Dwarfs game will not come on this weekend. Don't forget that Mediama will be in Africa and they'll be playing in the CAF Confederations Cup against Tunisian opposition. They left on Wednesday, so they are currently in Tunisia. That's the update from the Ghana Premier League. Away in England, though, there's so much happening today. The biggest story is that former Real Madrid boss Rafa Benitez has taken over relegation-threatened Newcastle. Newcastle have 10 games to save their season, which is looking increasingly dire. They are on 29 points, and the big question is, can Rafa, who has replaced Steve McLaren, who was sacked this morning, do the job and get them out? Away from the Barclays Premier League, this week has been full of FA Cup action. We saw Arsenal hit 4 against Hull City to go through after the replay to the next round. And we have more games. Reading versus Crystal Palace, one of them. But let me take you through the fixtures you should be expecting this weekend. And so we have Norwich versus Manchester City on Saturday, Stoke City versus Southampton, Bournemouth versus Swansea, and on Sunday we have Aston Villa versus Tottenham, and also on Monday we have Leicester versus Newcastle. It's Barclays Premier League fair, actually. Over in Spain, though, there's so much happening. Barca look like they are speeding to what will be a great season if they are able to win everything. Real Madrid close on their heels, well, not too close, and Atletico as well. And the Pichichi race is also increasing. Let's take a look at the fixtures in Spain. We have Malaga playing against Sporting Gijón. That's today. Barcelona will be playing Getafe. Celta Vigo, after their smashing, will be playing Real Sociedad. Atletico versus Depor in a game Atletico is expected to win. Rayo Vallecano play Eibar in the late kickoff, all those on Saturday. And on Sunday, we have Levante versus Valencia, Sevilla versus Villarreal, Bilbao versus Betis, Las Palmas, where Mubarak Wakaso plays, but he's been injured again, play versus Real Madrid. That's a game he would have really wanted to feature in. And on Monday, we have Granada versus Espanyol. Okay, so finally, we can do the story on the LA Lakers. They lost 108-120 to the Cavaliers. And also, if you want more on these, head over to myjoyonline.com/sport, including the news that Maria Sharapova is getting more reaction to the news that she took meldonium. The latest to speak is Andy Murray, who says that she deserves every ban that she gets. You can get more through our social media accounts. That's the sport for now. I'm Gary Alsmith. See you later.